So, for a few months now, I've been sharing my house with a doll that I'm now fairly sure is possessed. It's not actually as bad as it sounds, though. I mean, we all have our crazy roommate horror stories. The one who never flushed the toilet, the one who blasted loud music at night, the one who was always bringing home dates and left the sink full of dirty dishes. This, honestly, isn't much different. Cohabitation is never easy. Having a haunted doll as a roommate poses similar issues, albeit more the paranormal kind. For the most part, they're just minor quirks. Technology glitching, weird messages on the walls, dead animals, etc. Sure, the animal corpses and blood showing up in strange places is a little worrying, but I'm pretty sure cat owners go through the same thing, so I shouldn't complain. Not that I'm comparing the doll to a pet. I don't think that it would be pleased by that comparison. After all, it does help pay rent. I think. I keep finding wads of cash stuffed in my freezer when rent day comes around, and if it isn't the doll doing it, then I have no idea where it's coming from. Whatever the cause, I'm not complaining. The doll is also an excellent security system against burglars. The other night, someone broke into my house and started ransacking the place. Apparently, the doll didn't appreciate the intrusion because by the time the police got there, the would-be thief was cowering in the corner. I'm not sure exactly what happened before they arrived because I wasn't home at the time, but I'm told the burglar will make a full recovery. Eventually. The official story is that he pulled out his own fingernails and chunks of his hair due to some sort of mental breakdown, all by himself, because the officers couldn't find evidence of anyone else being in the house at the time, and he kept babbling on about demons. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. I should probably start at the beginning. It began when I put up posters around the community college I attend, looking for a roommate to help pay for the house I'd recently moved into. There were no replies to the ad until a few days later when a sharp knock at the door startled me from my computer. Well, I say knock, but it was more like a single, heavy bang, as if someone had thrown their full weight against the door. However, the only sign that someone had been there once I opened it was a crusty-looking doll, placed right on top of a torn piece of paper. One of the ads for the roommate that I had pinned up at the school. Obviously, I thought it was a prank. The thought of someone making fun of me for my financial issues pissed me off. So, I called out into the empty street, "Joke's on you, asshole! I've always wanted a creepy doll! You ain't getting this back!" Out of sheer spite, I actually did keep the doll, naming it Shitwaffle and placing it in my living room for all to see. Yes, I know the name is stupid, but in my defense, I didn't know it was hosting an otherworldly entity. Actually, I didn't notice anything was off about it for a surprisingly long time. One of my friends told me it gave them a weird feeling, but I laughed it off as it being part of that weird phobia most people have of inanimate humanoid objects. Like, yeah, mannequins and whatever are unsettling, but they aren't actually alive. Or at least, that's what I thought. I should probably detail some of the events that led me to my conclusion that Shitwaffle was haunted. I think that the first really odd thing I remember is when I was doing a deep clean of the house. I was in a bit of a bad mood because I had to do it all by myself. No one had responded to my roommate posters, and the ads I put on Craigslist kept getting mysteriously deleted. And so, I had the radio on full blast while I worked. Rap music, the classics, obviously. Not any of that new shit. It helps me focus when I stress clean. So, anyways, I was scrubbing the shower with all the fury of the Wu-Tang Clan when suddenly the radio started crackling and making static. I cursed, but figured something had gone wrong with the reception or something, and so I kept cleaning. That's when the radio started switching from channel to channel, with sliding whine punctuated by fragments of voices and song. Now, I don't know shit about radios, but that seemed unusual to me. So I got up and readjusted the knob with an uneasy look around the room. Nobody was in the house but me, and I didn't think someone had really snuck inside just to switch the radio. All the same, I couldn't help feeling on edge. I glanced at the doll sitting in the corner and asked it half-jokingly, "Hey Shitwaffle, you didn't see anyone come in here, did you?" No response. Just a dead-eyed glare. "Yeah, didn't think so," I chuckled nervously to myself. I went back to cleaning. Finishing up the bathroom and getting out a broom, it wasn't until 5 minutes later, while I struggled to get that little corner of dust into the pan, that I realized that the music playing was some sort of jazz. What the fuck? I ran back to the radio and checked the station. As I suspected, it had changed, without me noticing this time. It happened several more times throughout the day until I finally got so frustrated that I turned the radio off completely. I would have written it off as one of those funny little things that just happens from time to time, if not for what happened later that night. I actually fell out of my bed in my rush to turn the extremely loud song off. It sounds silly, but one of the most terrifying feelings has got to be the sudden blast of music and the dead quiet of night. My heart was racing as I leaned against the counter. Finally, having switched the radio back off. Instead of being a relief, the silence actually seemed ominous. Darkness transformed the familiar kitchen into a menagerie of unidentifiable shapes. I stumbled towards the light switch to turn it on, telling myself it was because I needed to see, not because I was irrationally scared. As the hum of harsh fluorescent lights flooded the room, Shitwaffle, who had been resting against the radio in the dark, turned its head towards me, its beady eyes seemingly accusing, as if saying, "You turned off my music. Fuckwad." I'd rather not write down what the rest of the night was like. Suffice to say that I flipped out, and there was no more paranormal activity. In the morning, I convinced myself that it was a nightmare or a trick of the light, and I felt embarrassed by my overreaction. Still, despite my denial, a certain wariness had developed in my interactions with the doll. I found myself more hesitant to pick it up and move it around. Not that this hindered Shitwaffle in the least. The damn thing still managed to appear in places I was sure I hadn't put it. I feigned ignorance, but it became so blatant that I could ignore it no longer. The turning point was definitely when, one day, the doll popped up right behind me, startling me so bad that I reflexively punted it down the hall with a swift kick. Shitwaffle arced through the air, gown fluttering, and then smashed into the far wall with a sickening clatter. My stomach turned. I felt inexplicably guilty. It wasn't really my fault. The thing snuck up on me, for fuck's sake. But I still felt the need to check that it hadn't broken. Before I could even take a step forward, the walls began to shake and rattle, pictures fell onto the ground, glass shattered. At the end of the hall, Shitwaffle stared me down beneath the flickering lights. Somehow, I managed to calm the doll down by apologizing and playing some of that jazz music it seemed to like, which was actually starting to grow on me. What can I say? It's catchy. After that, it was impossible to ignore the fact that my creepy little housemate was some sort of real, sentient, supernatural being. This is usually a part of the story where the cursed individual seeks out help from an exorcist or paranormal professional. I did not do that. I mean, in my defense, Shitwaffle is a pretty decent roommate. Throwing it out just because it's a bit haunted would be kind of a dick move, especially since it hasn't done anything to actually harm me. We're definitely not friends, and I get the feeling it's just tolerating my existence, but the same could be said for many other roommates I've had. Plus, I'm too lazy to try and find a real exorcist. Yes, I know I could probably find some banishing ritual on the internet, but it would be pretty awkward if Shitwaffle found out I was researching how to destroy its soul or whatever. I'm sure that the doll knows how to use my computer because I keep noticing weird search histories like cemeteries near me and what sound pitch drives dogs crazy. Man, I wish I had time to tell more of my experiences. I know that what I've written so far could be dismissed as coincidences or a runaway imagination, but I promise there's been more substantial evidence. I thought I'd start out with some of the more tame things that happened, because jumping right into the glowing orbs and demonic late-night rituals would be a lot all at once. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that detailing the beginnings would take so long, and now I'm kind of in a rush because of finals and the end of the semester, so I've decided that I'm just going to post this and continue filling everyone in after I've finished with that stressful mess. In the meantime, any advice on what to do would be appreciated. Am I crazy for being chill with a haunted doll in my house? Also, I don't actually know that much about paranormal lore aside from a few horror movies, so if anyone knows exactly what is going on, hit me up. Is it a ghost? Demon? Whatever shitwaffle actually is, I guess it's safe to assume that housing is difficult to find for supernatural beings too. I can sympathize with that.